The reason you're alone is because society has lied to you. You have been fed a myth that the right one will just find you eventually. But the most basic truth in all of personal development is being proactive, starting with the end in mind, living intentionally. And you have lived very intentionally in certain areas of your life, in your business, in your career, maybe in a hobby of yours. But when it comes to finding the right woman, maybe the most important decision you'll ever make in life, you're just leaving it up to chance. You're installing dating apps, giving it a half-assed try. You're not getting the matches you want. You delete them. Then you get horny. You get back on them. You don't do approaches in person. When it comes to Instagram, you've never even heard of it. You have not made a study of it. Something that you proclaim is important, having a family, finding somebody to settle down with. You actually have not made an effort to choose somebody from abundance. How on earth are you supposed to get such a unique outcome, like a quality relationship, if you just leave it up to chance? Remember, there's 3 pillars of compatibility. There's personality and values, physical attractiveness, and intellectual compatibility. You want somebody who ranks high, not perfect, but high on all of them, don't you? Aren't you a high-value man? Whatever that's supposed to mean. Aren't you a good, kind, caring, hardworking, successful guy? Don't you deserve a woman who loves you and appreciates you, who comes to you and instead of bickering at you for working a lot, saying, hey, I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much for working so hard. When you're sitting there bleeding out of your eyes, working in the evening at 9 p.m. on your laptop, she actually comes and gives you a massage, looks at you with adoration in her eyes. Don't you deserve that? Well, in one way of looking at it, obviously do you deserve that because you're that kind of guy. But unfortunately, the way the fabric of this reality works is that you only deserve what you work for. You don't deserve the 6-pack if you don't cut the calories. You don't deserve an amazing relationship if you don't create a date machine. If you don't work on your mindset, if you don't work on your communication skills. You do not deserve what you don't put the outcome in for. So, on the one hand, you obviously have to understand that you are worthy and deserving of a relationship. That is a prerequisite, and that is something you have to affirm in your mind on a day-to-day basis. That there's not a single thing you have to change about yourself today to be able to be worthy and deserving of an amazing relationship. That being said, you also have to be strategic and dedicate 5 to 10 hours of your week to that. Because if you don't, somebody else will get her. And obviously, there is infinite abundance. Whether John ends up with the woman you want or not doesn't even matter because you just find somebody new. There's 400 million women in the world in your age bracket alone. But the time is ticking, my friend. You're getting older by the day. Maybe most of your friends are already married or in relationships or they're having children, but you don't. How does it make you feel to see them have an outcome that you want to have? And by the way, if you want to be single for the next 5 to 10 years, that is also amazing. There's no right or wrong. Just don't BS yourself. Just don't lie to yourself. You have to be honest with yourself and admit if that is a goal, if falling asleep, waking up next to somebody who's beautiful physically, inside and out, if that's something that's important to you, it will require work. And Wayne Dyer, one of the OGs in personal development, he gave a speech many, many years ago called The Power of Intention. And in The Power of Intention, he talks about that everything follows intention. Whatever you place your focus on, you visualize the successful achievement of the outcome of an amazing relationship. Then the action steps follow. Visualization doesn't work because you put a thought in your head and then the vibration just gets it to you. No, but it'll create so much emotional certainty within you because it'll feel like you've already achieved it that you can then do the things that will actually get you the relationship. So visualization is indeed the first step. If you can't even picture yourself with an amazing woman in your arm, children, babies, maybe if you already have children, whatever it is that your ideal, perfect life with an amazing woman look like, if you can't even do that, how are you supposed to get yourself in the mental and emotional state necessary to take the right actions on a weekly basis? To send a couple of messages on Instagram, to build a good profile on dating apps, to approach in person. You do not deserve the outcome of an amazing relationship if you keep being lazy. You do deserve it inherently, but if you don't put in the work, you're never going to achieve it. And then you will lie there, being 130 years old, wrinkled up, haven't made love to anybody in the last 30 years with regret. Because there's only 2 outcomes that are going to come from you not taking dating and relationship serious. Either you'll stay alone forever, or you'll get sick of being alone and you'll settle for somebody. you'll say something is better than nothing. And then you're going to get whipped in the relationship. She won't be as physically attractive as you want. So you'll be like, oh, you're going to go through the motions while you're making love to her. You're like, well, this isn't really great. Or you lie to yourself the way I did in past relationships, saying, I have inner values. I'm not one of those superficial guys. No, physical attractiveness matters. Or you'll be with somebody where you don't even have the same values. Let's say you're Christian and she isn't, and she'll criticize you for it. How are you going to raise your children? All the unnecessary conflicts that you will endure in your life because you don't make this a priority. I would really encourage you to simply dedicate 4 to 7%, 4 to 8%, of your waking time per week, 5 to 10 hours a week to this. It is actually super simple. You don't understand the abundance that is already around you. Part of the reason I like filming in nature is because it reminds me of the abundance of this world. There is just as much, or if not more abundance, when it comes to choosing the right woman. Now, most women won't be right for you. And you can cry on the internet saying that, oh, women are so terrible. Women are actually amazing. Like a bell curve type of distribution, just like with men. Some are amazing, some are crazy. Most are kind of good people. But just because somebody's a good person doesn't mean the person is right for you. So, it'll still require volume, but it is not just volume. It's also working on your verbal skills, not being so boring, creating a man-to-woman connection, being free in your expression, being polarizing, passing congruence tests. There are certain how-tos that you can easily master. You have already mastered the skill set of learning. You have already learned how to learn. You are just lazy. You're insanely lazy. Somebody else is going to make love to the woman you want to make love to. And guess what, by the way? It's also costing you money. You're aware of that, right? In your career, in your business. Because if you have somebody in your life that you want to work for, and it's not just about you, that's going to add at least minimum 25% of productivity additionally to you. How much money? I want you to do this calculation in your head right now. What would it be worth to you to have? It's probably more than that. But even just a 25% increase in productivity per year. And then output. How much money would that be over the course of a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? How much money are you losing out on because you're not even performing at your best? You're performing well, but you're not really giving it all you've got because you don't even have anybody to make proud of. You don't even have anybody to share all of the stuff that you've accumulated with. Traveling is fun, but you really want to keep doing that by yourself? I want you to understand that you don't even realize how good it can get. I met Fernanda in a pub here in Ireland 6.5 years ago. The love I get from that relationship is unparalleled. That woman is amazing. She got a master's degree from one of the best universities in Brazil. She's super hot, kind, caring, smart. Nobody's perfect, but the relationship is truly outstanding. Why? Was I lucky? No. I grew up a ginger with vampire teeth in Germany. That's a cause for childhood bullying. I had zero skills around women. I remember very vividly, I was in a nightclub with a friend of mine in Berlin many, many, many years ago. And you don't have to go to clubs. I actually recommend not going to clubs if you want to find the right woman. But that's where I was. He was a friend of mine, kickboxer, really, really cool guy, dancing with a girl, having a good time. He has a bit more swag than me. And I'm standing there, metaphorically speaking, with my dick in my hand. And I want to go and talk to somebody. And I remember it was 30 minutes or 90 minutes until I finally walked over to a girl. Because you know the sensation of wanting to go and talk to somebody, but the approach anxiety is there, this invisible wall. That was in a German nightclub. I am German. She was German. I was so insecure, so I walk over to her and I ask her in English, excuse me, where are the toilets? And she looks at me like, eh? That look, that facial expression was enough for me to experience a level of shame and embarrassment. You know when you're so embarrassed, you feel like everybody's staring at you, and you just want to sink into the ground, like a physical sensation. It was horrible. I said, screw this, let me focus on martial arts. And then I fly to Ireland for a karate seminar. I meet somebody, my ex, didn't choose from abundance, moved to Ireland. We spent a couple of years together. We have a daughter. We get divorced. We get married. We have a daughter. We get divorced. Not because she's a bad person, but we truly, truly weren't compatible. I went through the dark night of the soul. And you might say, David, I'd rather stay single than be in a horrible relationship. False dichotomy. There's always more than two options, brother. You could just find somebody who is right for you. I had zero skills in this area. Absolutely zero. If I can do it, you can do it. I know what it's like to be in a relationship with a woman who can't apologize, who can't assume any responsibility of her own. And again, not because that person's a bad person, but if somebody's a little bit insecure, then that person is going to try to meet her need for certainty and security by controlling other people. And most people who are good people will suffer in relationships if they're with somebody that are not compatible with. The number one factor for relationship success is compatibility, my friend. And to find somebody you're truly compatible with, you have to go on at least one quality date a week. And again, it starts with being proactive. Just make a decision. Half of the year is already over. 2026, half of the year is almost over. More than a third. And you're wasting your time. Summer is coming and you'll be alone. Do you really want to be alone at Christmas? Do you really want to be around relatives? Some you like, some you don't like that much. Being the only one at Christmas, not having a relationship, not having a family? And it's not even about what other people think. It's about your own subjective experience of this world. Because everything is better when you share it with somebody. Listen, if you're a man who's doing very well in your career or your business, you got most of the areas in your life figured out, but the last missing piece of the puzzle is a fulfilling relationship to the right woman, and you would like me to help you personally, click the link underneath this video or in my bio and just apply for a free initial consultation. During that call, my team is going to sit down with you, map out a plan based on your individual situation, and then we'll figure out if and how we can help you. Looking forward to speaking with you soon. Take care.